Las Vegas, Tzu Chi volunteers delivered food and prevention supplies for the homeless during the pandemic. In Keelung, Tzu Chi volunteers celebrated the Double Ninth Festival in advance for the elders at the senior class. Selamat datang ke Dial Headline, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. In Las Vegas, there are currently more than 6,000 homeless people, ranking 9th among major cities in the United States. Due to the pandemic, the homeless are not able to obtain enough food and supplies. Tzu Chi volunteers immediately sent aid supplies to help them for the coming winter.
In Las Vegas, the well-known gambling city in the United States, some people make a living from it, while some people turn over by gambling. But more often, some lose their lives because of gambling. Under the pandemic, Las Vegas is no longer lively and brilliant. Instead, there are more people wandering on the streets. A local foundation called Friends in the Desert Foundation has served homeless people for more than 20 years, but it has also faced difficulties recently.
It's very hard not to let the people come inside, and they can't use our restrooms and things like that, so we had to find new creative ways to help them outside. And we are just so happy to still be able to give them food every single day. We have not missed one day, not one.
Tzu Chi volunteers have joined the ranks of serving the homeless since 2007. When the epidemic hits, the pace of love has never stopped.
This rice and noodles all from Taiwan, from our Dharma master. And the master is about to plug in because they're worried, concerned of our pandemic states. We want to share with you, okay, from Tzu Chi Foundation.
You're the first group that came out and give everybody so many masks, so we're very grateful. Thank you for all you do for us. Thank you for all that you've given everyone here as well.
The 9 volunteers, who are not afraid of the severity of the pandemic, handed over the supplies to the homeless so that they can pass through the severe winter with the warmth of love.
In Chile, there's a Venezuelan refugee family who fled to Santiago, but they have spent all the money they have prepared for the journey. Thankfully, a kind-hearted landlord gave them a place to stay and then referred the family to Tzu Chi. Tzu Chi volunteers immediately went to care for this family, hoping their lives can turn for the better.
我们现在要去接那个委内瑞拉的那个一家5口的难民，因为他们现在是在市中心，所以说我们不方便停车，而且现在的治安很不好，所以我背包也准备在前面，我们用走路的走去，现在正在往委内瑞拉。
The Andreas family of 5 escaped from Venezuela to Chile with $1,000 in their possession, but during the journey they spent it all. Thankfully, they met a nice landlord who gave them a place to stay.
人家租给他们，一定是租给他们的。这里也有厕所哈，有厕所。
It's a temporary place, but this place has a bathroom and only one room, which the street children sleep in. They have sectioned off a part in the living room, where the adults sleep. There's a kitchen and fridge, so they feel like they can stay here for a while.
所以他觉得说他可以在这个地方住下来。
Though they have a place to stay, the family has no money. Thus, the landlord asked Tzu Chi to help the family. After a thorough understanding of their situation, the volunteers decided to solve the problem of their rent first.
现在我们清九师兄拿着就是一张支票。
Right now, Brother Qingjiu is holding a check for 500,000 pesos, which is enough to pay their rent for 2 months. This way, the father can look for a job without worries.
Thank you so much for willing to help us. You guys are good people, and I hope in the future we will have the ability to help other people. My family and I hope to begin our new life here in Chile. I'm really thankful to the Tzu Chi Foundation.
The cycle of love continues as Tzu Chi volunteers visit a couple they helped in the past and happen to mention the situation with the Andreas family. And surprisingly, this couple lent a helping hand.
You have brought so much positivity into our lives. My wife didn't used to trust people, but due to your influence, she has begun to trust others.
Tzu Chi volunteers brought the items the Lewis family donated and other secondhand items collected to the Andreas family. This is the 4th time the volunteers visited them in 1 week, all in the hopes of helping the family begin their new life in Chile with ease.
Muy agradecido, de verdad, contento por toda la ayuda, de verdad. No tengo ni palabras que decirle, de verdad, que Dios me les bendiga a todas esas personas, a ustedes por esta ayuda increíble que nos han dado.
In the Philippines, the Tzu Chi Eye Clinic has helped many people with various eye diseases. In our following report, we take a look at how the lives of 3 patients have changed because of the free clinic.
Since his eyesight is too blurry, he needs to use his face to focus his eyes and fill in the medical record. This tricycle driver, who has suffered from cataracts for many years, sought help from the Tzu Chi Free Eye Clinic and got his most memorable birthday present.
Although I don't have a birthday meal, I'm still happy because I'm able to see again.
Today is my husband's birthday. To him, this operation is the most special present.
Amelia was a Tzu Chi employee for 10 years. After leaving her job for 5 years, she got glaucoma. She returned to the familiar Tzu Chi family to receive treatment for eye disease.
The previous doctor said that my eyes could not be cured, but I did not give up. I told myself that Tzu Chi would definitely be able to help. My vision finally recovered.
Not only can doctors save people, but nurses can also help with treatment. When a foreign object gets into the eyes, they can gently pick it out.
The patient said there was a foreign object stuck in her eye. She also mentioned that someone was using a floor polisher near her at that time. So I have done a preliminary removal for her.
After they remove the foreign objects and provide the treatment for me, I feel totally relieved. I'm really grateful.
Medical workers treat diseases professionally, while patients give back with gratitude, donating to the Bamboo-Con Bank to help more people.
Also in the Philippines, Tzu Chi cooperated with the local government to develop vegetable gardens with organic farming techniques to help residents of Bohol Inabanga Great Love Village eat healthy food.
In 2013, there was a strong earthquake in Bohol, the Philippines. 3 years later, Tzu Chi assisted in the construction of a Great Love Village with 70 simple houses being built. The misery brought by the coronavirus has led the local provincial government to work with Tzu Chi to set up a Great Love vegetable garden to teach residents to use natural farming methods to grow edible food.
I'm very happy to see that the residents use natural organic farming methods that we teach to grow crops. I just saw that many kinds of vegetables are now growing very well over here.
Tzu Chi not only recommends a vegetarian diet to the residents, but also create this vegetable garden so that we can be self-sufficient and avoid eating too much meat and fat.
Menard, who manages the Great Love Vegetable Garden, used to be a Tzu Chi scholarship recipient. After graduation, he put his undergraduate degree in agriculture to good use, serving the local community.
We will continue to insist the residents applying natural, organic farming practices to grow really healthy vegetables. I'm very thankful to Master Cheng Yen for supporting us always.
To cultivate a lifestyle that takes into account ecological balance and nutrition, Tzu Chi also hopes to replicate its successful farming experience elsewhere.
Ana Rhea is the class monitor for the first batch of students of the long-term caregiver classes for Filipinos in TCUST. She's from Ormoc City and is 20 years old this year. She's a Tzu Chi who lives in the Great Love Village back home and has been active in many volunteer activities. Let's take a look at her story.
1、2、3、4、5。
我是尹安雅，我20岁。I am from Ormoc City, Philippines. So we are 6 in my family. Our house is just a small normal house like in the Philippines. It's where we usually spend our weekends. Because when we were kids, my mom always told me that you should study.
The Philippines was struck by Typhoon Haiyan on November 8. The maximum wind speed at that time was 375 kilometers an hour, which set a new record.
Tzu Chi Foundation.
A volunteer became a familiar figure, appearing on the largest television station in the Philippines, ABS-CBN, to give a report. Local reports include news of Taiwan NGO organization providing relief funds for affected residents, including a Cash for Work campaign.
Ang puso kong ito'y nagpapasalamat.
The minimum wage here is only about $5, but we give $10. So this is more than double. As you can see, they are all very happy.
So I was 13 years old then when Typhoon Haiyan came, and I was really scared because we can hear the wind blowing and then the roofs of the houses. We can really hear how it flew away, and then the rain, it was not really raining hard, but the wind was too strong that we can feel it, that the roofs of our houses came flying. I came to see how hard life is, so it was on my mind that I really need to study hard to help my family because it was indeed a disaster. When the first time I saw Tzu Chi, the first thing that came into my mind is that they really help people in need, and that they don't wait for others to help us. They're really hands-on. They never wait for the government's permission to give us what we need, and they never expect anything in return. They just help us empty.
Tzu Chi taught us that if we wanted change, we needed to work.
Lalo na ngayon na nasa kagipitan.
Especially now when we're most troubled, only your team is here to help us. All citizens of Tacloban are very grateful to the Tzu Chi Foundation.
With your presence, at least para kami nabuhayan.
We moved to the Taay village. I saw that Tzu Chi has like a lot of like branches, like they just don't give us financially and then the things. They also have spiritually, and then they were also teaching us how to be filial with the family.
This coming Sunday is the Double Ninth Festival. Keelung Tzu Chi volunteers celebrated in advance for the elders of a senior class, inviting children from the parent-child class to accompany the elders.
To celebrate the Double Ninth Festival, elders cannot be absent. Keelung Tzu Chi volunteers invited the seniors' favorite children to be the guest performers.
As the elders are aged, some of them may have degenerated joints. Worrying that they might fall, we can't lead them to have too many jumping action or activity with high impact. They need slower movement and also need exercise, so it's better to do some simple soothing stretches.
After their muscles and bones were fully warmed up, there was a game which needs the cooperation of the young and the old. The elders, accompanied by the children, play the games with vigor as if they have returned to their youth.
Nowadays, the elders may be a little bit separated from the kids, as they don't normally live together. So our main thing is to give children an idea to treat other elders with kindness in the same way as their own grandparents.
Through this kind of activity, the elders can get to know more about the world. Otherwise, if we shut ourselves at home, we'll become silly. Now I play with the kids. It seems like I've also become younger. It's really good.
The little children kept them company to play games, while elementary school children served tea and presented gifts to show their filial piety. Seeing that the kids who are not blood related can also respect the elders in this way, many of the elders' children feel impressed.
We play games today, and I also saw the kids serving tea. I never done anything like this before. I think I will try doing the same at home so that I won't regret.
Although the children and the elders do not share a common language, through the activities, the distance between the young and the old is bridged. It is also believed to be the warmest family time that the elders ever have.
Mr. Liu from Yunlin had a fall, which caused him to have problems with walking. His wife collects recyclables to sell for a living. The two have a difficult time making ends meet. Their home would leak whenever it rains. Thus, after an evaluation by Tzu Chi, the volunteers came to repair their home.
The old traditional style home is filled with random items without a place for people to walk. Thus, Tzu Chi volunteers gather to organize and clean it up. The home, which is about 50 years old, has a leaky roof and old kitchen equipment. After a survey, improvements were made. Tackling the home's problem one at a time so that the homeowner, Mr. Liu, who is 76 this year, and his wife can live comfortably.
This place used to leak and there were a lot of recyclables piled up. Everything is now cleaned up. The roof is fixed and doesn't leak anymore. It's so great.
Quality of the work is high as the walls are repainted and the floor is repaved.
The room feels different. The switch and the plugs have been changed out.
The organized home looks new once more. After putting down spring couplets, volunteers sang the Song of Blessings.
I'm thankful they have fixed up my home so nicely.
Tzu Chi shows Mr. Liu some love and care so he may live more comfortably at home.
In Medan, Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers have repaired a house for an impoverished family. They help a single mother who had to raise 7 children. The house leaked whenever it rained. Tzu Chi volunteers have spent 3 weeks repainting the house. They also delivered their best wishes to this family. Here's more.
This family has suffered because their house cannot protect them from the elements.
When it rains, her house will get flooded. Our hearts go out to them after our survey. Our heart aches to see them live like this, so we have applied for help from the Tzu Chi Medan branch. Now that the house has been repaired, they can live more comfortably.
The house owner Doriska has been scavenging and doing odd jobs to raise 7 kids after her husband passed away. After Tzu Chi helped repair her house, she does not have to worry about rainy days anymore.
We are very grateful to Tzu Chi volunteers for taking care of us. They registered my son as a scholarship recipient and helped us repair the house. I believe it is God's arrangements. I don't know how I can pay back Tzu Chi's help. Doriska relies on scavenging to make a living. We are thankful to Tzu Chi for helping her. I hope more people will receive help in the future.
To celebrate housewarming, volunteers have brought snacks for the neighbors. This family will be able to live more comfortably in the future.
Tzu Chi New Zealand chapter celebrated its 20th anniversary with prostrating pilgrimage and music concert and received blessings from people from all walks of life. Volunteers from Tzu Chi New Zealand also shared this blessing with the master through video conferencing.
Happy 20th birthday, Tzu Chi New Zealand.
Happy 20th birthday, Tzu Chi!
I wish Tzu Chi New Zealand chapter will be able to help more people during its 20th anniversary celebration. And I hope that Tzu Chi and the police can have more cooperation in the future.
Tzu Chi New Zealand chapter celebrated its 20th anniversary. People from all walks of life offer their best wishes. Due to epidemic, Tzu Chi volunteers from New Zealand met the master through online.
Please follow me now. I'm sorry to disturb you. Students, master is here.
Looking back over the past 20 years, Tzu Chi's office in New Zealand has been from a volunteer's home to a fixed location in 2004, attracting benevolent people of different nationalities, skin colors, and ages. Zhang, 97, is the oldest volunteer in the chapter. As Lin and his family are happy to do Tzu Chi.
I think I'm very grateful that my parents, my wife and children are very willing to cooperate with me in doing Tzu Chi works. I don't think there's any frustration at all in volunteering, and I'm very happy.
Mrs. Fa, 85 years old, also has expectation for Tzu Chi's efforts.
After 20 years, I think you've probably done everything, but if you're happy to keep going, well, I just really admire you all and wish you all the very best. Yes. Are you aiming for another 20?
Sure, definitely sure.
The ever-growing team is the ambition of Tzu Chi volunteers in New Zealand. Everyone is looking forward to walking on the Tzu Chi path, cultivating both blessing and wisdom.
During the holidays, Tianjin Tzu Chi volunteers held a tea gathering. They invited young volunteers to participate and also cook meals together with senior volunteers. The youth volunteers also learned recycling while doing it and also have a better understanding of Tzu Chi.
Although young volunteers were invited to participate in tea gathering, they were not ideal. Some were in charge of arranging the venue, some were in the kitchen chopping vegetables, and some were making sushi and also doing recycling work.
Participants can get joy from the service, and in the future, I hope that students can join in various activities.
During the holidays, Tianjin Tzu Chi volunteers invite college students together. Some of these students are scholarship recipients or volunteers. In addition to bonding with one another, they also share the joy of doing Tzu Chi.
Our lives are not easy now. We should be content and not waste food.
Tzu Chi is a more pragmatic organization because it can accurately give or help. This is an important reason why I want to join this organization.
As in the same family, they will also undertake good deeds together in the future to continue this bond.
Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital's medical staffs and volunteers accompanied over 10 seniors to make cakes to celebrate the upcoming Double Night Festival. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.